know, is very rare to you and to the Times. What do you make of what he had to say to you?
Well, we talked about the Hitler issue most of all, because I've been very interested in Donald Trump's belief system as it pertains to authoritarian leaders. We've never had a president of the United States, or a major party candidate, I believe, who has expressed such admiration for the leadership style of Adolf Hitler. And I think among the many things that John Kelly was shocked at when he worked in the White House, I think this is probably the most shocking for him, the idea that Donald Trump would regularly tell him and others how much he admired Hitler. And very specifically, John Kelly heard Donald Trump say repeatedly, and others have heard him say, that he admired aspects of Hitler's reign, and that he particularly admired the way that German generals were obedient to Hitler. Remember, Donald Trump, throughout his presidency, was frustrated by the generals, or my generals, as he called them, both people in the Pentagon and both people who were retired who worked in the White House, because they wouldn't sort of mindlessly listen to him or follow his orders. That's not the way it works in a democracy, obviously, when there's an order that is illegal or immoral. And he said to John Kelly, look, I want generals who are obedient like the German generals. And Kelly would push back, as you showed. And Kelly would actually push back and say, you know, Hitler's generals spent a lot of time trying to kill him. And Donald Trump would say, no, that's not true. I mean, we all know it's true. It's in the history of Hitler's rule. There were constant attempts on Hitler's life by generals and other officers. There's even a Tom Cruise movie about it, in case you don't read books. So you know, this was, I think, among the things that shocked Kelly and other officials the most, because it's very un-American, obviously, to express admiration for the leadership style of the world's foremost fascist.
Well, and just the idea of, in your reporting, where John Kelly was having to, like, explain it to Trump, and to say that, of course, Trump famously quoted as saying he knows more than his generals did. And there's part of General Kelly talking about this, about the comments that we've heard from Donald Trump lately. This is not just something that happened in term one of Donald Trump. We're now hearing him talking about using the U.S. military to go after what he refers to as enemies from within. I mean, he's name-dropped Democrats when he's had those conversations. There's part of this interview with General Kelly with the New York Times about why he's speaking out now. I just want people to listen to what he said to the New York Times about this.
Unless you're someone like me or Mattis or, you know, people like that retired from the military or left the military, like Mark Esper or Mike Pompeo, and then go into a political job, whether it's elected or you know, assigned by the White House, it's a little bit different because you're then involved in it. But for the most part, and that's why I'm so hesitant to talk. It's certainly never to tell or recommend to an American who they should vote for, because now that I'm out of the political job, I'm back to being pretty much a retired military officer who should not get too involved in this kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, until the former president started talking about this, and this goes back to when I was in the White House, for that matter, DHS, I was, you know, originally the conversation would be, you know, Mr. President, that's outside your authority, or, you know, that's a routine use. You really don't want to do that inside the United States. But now that he's talking about it as I'm going to do it, is again, it's disturbing.
Jeffrey, did that have a role in why John Kelly went on the record with you about the military and Trump's thoughts on how it should work for him?
I think John Kelly's been concerned about this for a long time. We're obviously closer to the election. And I think a lot of people in John Kelly's position, there are a lot of generals, who are discussed in my story. A lot of them are torn because on the one hand, it's a very, very strong tradition in the U.S. military to stay apolitical, to not be involved in politics and not endorsed. One of the reasons the military is so highly respected in America compared to other institutions is because of this. On the other hand, I think former generals like Kelly, Milley, Mattis, and there's a whole bunch of others who have seen him up close, who've seen Trump up close, have spotted real authoritarian tendencies and a real desire. I mean, you remember in 2020 and the George Floyd disturbances, Donald Trump said to the defense secretary at the time, Mark Esper, why can't you just shoot these demonstrators? Why can't you just shoot them in the legs? He has expressed a desire over and over again to various officials that U.S. troops be used to suppress Americans demonstrating against policies that he happens to, support. So I would say that people like John Kelly are in a tough spot. They don't want to politicize entirely, but they're also, to put it plainly, I think they're scared. I think they're scared of what a second Donald Trump term would look like because they saw the first.
Yeah, the people who saw it firsthand. And, the other people who saw it firsthand, and this is the other concern we've heard from some of these people, is they're worried about who would staff a second Trump term. And when the disturbing story that you open up with about Vanessa Guillen and what her family's gone through, I should note Mark Meadows, who was there, that you report was given this order, don't pay it. He claims that's not true. He said in a statement tonight that Trump was nothing but kind, gracious, and wanted to make sure they did right by her family. Cash Patel, who was also there, said, of course, President Trump didn't say that. He ensured that this victim received full military honors. Her sister tweeted at you saying that she felt her sister's death was being exploited. Just given what you heard from your sources, what do you make of those denials?
I don't make much of them at all. The sister wasn't in the meeting. The lawyer for the family wasn't in the meeting. Mark Meadows was in the meeting. Cash Patel was in the meeting. A whole bunch of other senior officials were in the meeting. I have sources who are sitting in that meeting. I have contemporaneous notes taken by participants in that meeting that describe exactly what I described in the story. We've seen this pattern again and again and again. They deny, 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 and then it comes out as true. This is the same thing that happened with the previous iteration of this, and John Kelly confirmed this to both the New York Times and to me today. The quote-unquote suckers and losers issue, Donald Trump calling veterans and the war dead suckers and losers. They denied and denied and denied, and we have multiple witnesses. John Kelly told me on the record that he and many other people in the White House heard Donald Trump constantly refer to the war dead, American war dead, as suckers and losers. We know that he believes that people who serve the country are losers and suckers. He said it in multiple ways, multiple times. And this, of course, all starts with his putting down, his denigration of John McCain and George H.W. Bush, both Navy pilots who were shot down in enemy action, and Donald Trump putting down their experiences constantly. He's done that on the record, but these other issues, obviously, these are things that he said as part of his regular discourse. So it's not surprising that Mark Meadows is going to deny it. But the denial doesn't hold weight. I have contemporaneous sources, contemporaneous notes from that meeting. He said it. It also tracks with everything that we know about the way